What's up, guys? Garrett with SelfTaughtDev. So I did a video about 6 months ago where I was talking about how I thought I had figured out how to get my camera to shoot in 4K, but on subsequent videos I realized it was not. It was still pretty bad quality, but now I think I might have finally figured it out, messed with the HDMI output settings a little bit more, and it seems pretty crisp when I blow up the video on my screen. So hopefully I got it. We'll see how long it takes to upload to YouTube and like process in Premiere Pro, and that'll kind of be the deciding factor. Anyway, enough of me rambling about stuff. Today we're going to answer a question from Reddit. So let's jump over to Reddit and zoom in on this a little bit so you guys can see that. We've got the r/self.dev subreddit. If anybody wants to come hop in there, ask questions, hang out, be friends. I don't know if we can be Reddit friends. Can you friend somebody on Reddit? Yeah, feel free to like friend me on Reddit or whatever. And then if you make a good post, I will probably turn it into a video because I prefer to just express my thoughts in video format versus typing out paragraphs. But let's get to it. Imposter syndrome as a self-taught programmer on my first real job. This is a throwaway account, so I don't know why you need to clarify that this is a throwaway account. Does that matter? Anyway, I am a self-taught programmer with about 2.5 years experience on a freelancing platform working mainly on small REST APIs. That's dope that you taught yourself and worked your way into the freelance stuff. I sent my resume to some companies and only one answered back. In my experience, that's kind of expected if you don't have any like actual work experience. I guess the freelance stuff, maybe that should have played more of a role. So maybe we got to work on your resume a little bit. I don't know. Shoot me your resume. I'll give you some feedback on it in my next resume review video. I should specify that I exaggerated the length of my experiences by 1.5 years. I don't condone that. I don't think lying on your resume is a good deal. I think Josh Fluke said exaggerating stuff's okay, but I don't know. I don't think I agree with that. I know it's bad, but I'm already regretting it. The HR person sent me some tests and I answered them well. Some were fairly entry-level tests, others were a little harder. Well, I mean, if you exaggerated it by 1.5 years and they sent you tests and they still offered you a job, that's on them for like not vetting you well enough. Or they did vet you well enough and you're just being hard on yourself, which I think all devs do. Like in my first job, probably the first 6 months I was there, I would go in at like 7:30. I would leave at like 5:30 when everybody else started to leave. But getting in like an hour early, there were a few other people who came in early, but I was terrified. I wasn't where they thought I was going to be. Definitely had imposter syndrome on my first job. Had it on my second job, third job, fourth job, and then my current job. Or I think this might be my fourth job, but I have them on my current job still. I don't think that ever really goes away. But let's finish reading this question real quick before I start rambling about random stuff. Now I have severe imposter syndrome. I'm really scared of my first few days working with this company. I've never worked with a team before. I've always been an independent freelancer working alone mostly. Now I'm really scared that my lack of computer science formal education will show up. Please, any tips on how to proceed? So did you when you took the test they sent you, did you fake stuff on the test? Or did you actually pass those on your own? If you had some friend who graduated with a computer science degree and he was taking the test for you, then you might be in trouble. But as long as you were taking the tests, as long as you weren't faking anything in the interview, I mean, the 1.5, exaggerating your experience by 1.5 years, that's not going to be make that big of a difference. Even if you were Googling stuff on the tests, I feel like that's expected into the development world because you get stuff you don't know how to do all the time, and you have to Google it and find the answer. I think one of the most important skills in being a developer is your ability to quickly Google and assimilate knowledge. So most of the time when I started a new job as a dev, my biggest fear is that they didn't vet me well enough and I'm not at the level that they thought I was going to be. And like I was saying, that's how I thought it was at my first job when I was a junior WordPress developer, just working on CSS, making small DOM changes. I touched PHP maybe once a quarter, doing just super small edits. But my first job, like I said, 6 months into it, I was showing up early. I was staying a little late. I was studying when I got home. I was studying on my free time at work. I was doing everything I could to make sure that I was gonna get either, if I wasn't where they thought I was gonna be, I was gonna get there. And if I was gonna exceed their expectations, right? I wanted to make sure that I think there's a book called Lynchpin that talks about this. I haven't actually read it yet, but this is what I assume it talks about. But it's basically becoming like an indispensable member of the team. My first job, whenever I'd finish my tasks that were assigned to me, I could see my manager's task list, so I'd go look at his task list and pick through them and be like, oh, this one looks like something I could handle, and I would reassign that to myself and then ping him and be like, yo, I assigned this to myself because I was out of stuff to do, so I'm gonna try and work on this now. And then I'd knock that task out, go look at his task list, steal more stuff, and basically like try and take as much work from him as I could, and after finishing my work. But basically, I think everybody goes through imposter syndrome as a developer, especially like going from working solo freelance to working on a team. I can imagine that would be tough. As I've moved up from like the little startup I was at to like the CRM to Chase Bank to where I'm at now, like every step of the way, I was kind of like, ooh, did they vet me well enough? Are they going to realize that I don't know as much as they thought I knew and they're going to fire me? And you just gotta, like, that's just something you've got to accept and be okay with. It's going to bother you no matter what. Because like I said, like my fourth job, or the one I'm at now, I've still got imposter syndrome because like most of the people on the team, I think, have gone to school for computer science degrees, or at least have some kind of like math, computer science related major. When meanwhile, I'm just over here like, I majored in marketing and taught myself how to code. But yeah, I mean, you are probably gonna have to deal with that feeling for like a month, maybe two, or maybe even like as little as a few weeks on your new job. But if you have been successful, you've been a successful freelancer for 2.5 years, so I don't think you're gonna have any issue integrating with a team, unless you like. How are your people skills? Are you a good communicator? Like one of my biggest tips would be like, if you get stuck on something, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't just sit, like, I don't know if they use like an agile framework or how their flow is structured, but don't just have your task and sit there to the end of the sprint and every day to stand up, be like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm making progress on it. And then at the end of the sprint, you're like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't get anything done on this. Make sure you like reach out, ask questions, because like your team is going to want you to succeed. They're going to want to enable you and help you and give you anything you need to succeed. You just have to ask for it. Like it's like the old cliche thing, ask and you shall receive. A lot of life is like that. Like if you just ask for it or you like work hard for it and like try to get it, you can usually get it. I think like if most people wanted to become like multimillionaires, they could probably do it. And most people say they want to be millionaires, but they don't really want it. They don't want to make the sacrifices required to get to that level. Like if you say you want to be a multimillionaire, then you have to be prepared to make the sacrifices that like Elon Musk made, like working 16 hours a week, or not 16 hours a week, 16-hour days, sleeping at your office. You have to sacrifice your social life. You have to sacrifice a lot of other stuff to achieve that level of success. And like it's fun to say like I want that and that'd be awesome, but a lot of people aren't willing to make the sacrifices required to get there. Actually, I see why this is a throwaway account now with you admitting that you lied on the resume, but it's only 1.5 years, and so I'm assuming like you actually have 2.5 years, and you were saying, what would that be, like 3, 4? You actually have 4 years. But if you're a successful freelancer, I mean, you know how to figure stuff out. You've got this. You just gotta have more faith in yourself. That's the biggest thing. And then like as you go through tasks at work, it's gonna start off rough. It's gonna start off rough. I mean, you're gonna struggle a little bit, probably, depending on like what you're working with. But like after a month, you'll figure it out. You'll gain a lot more confidence. You'll get better at it, and that feeling just slowly goes away over time. But that is something everybody has to deal with. So don't be too hard on yourself about it. As long as you don't just like eject and you don't just give up on the job and just be like, all right, I'm gonna go back to freelance work. I can't do this. Don't disqualify yourself. Make sure you let them do that. I doubt it's gonna happen, but if it is gonna happen, don't do that on yourself. Make sure they do that, because a lot of times our perception is skewed by our internal biases. So you might, like right now, you're freaking out about it a little bit, and they, based on the test they sent you, they might be like, yeah, this is exactly who we're looking for. He's gonna be perfect. And you might actually be at that level if they need. But yeah, don't eject yourself. If you're worried that you're not where they think you're gonna be, just show up early. If it's not a remote job and you have to go to an office, like show up a little early, stay a little late, make sure you're studying on the side. Do whatever you need to get to where the level, like get to where you feel like you're on the level they expect you to be at. Most companies are pretty decent at vetting people, and they you're usually on the level they expect from my experience. But still, everybody gets that feeling. Don't worry, you're not alone. I don't think there's a dev that hasn't had imposter syndrome at some point. And like I said, I'm like 4 years deep into my career and I still get that. I think 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, 4 years deep and I still get imposter syndrome. So just stick with it. You're gonna do great. I believe in you. But yeah, hope this helps you out. Hope you learned something. If you learned something, give me a thumbs up so YouTube knows I'm doing good stuff. If you like the improved camera quality, if you feel like it's improved, give me a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions on what I should do for the background, feel free to throw those in the comments. Again, if you want to come hang out in Reddit, it's r/selftaught.dev. Feel free to come ask questions. Like I said, I'll probably turn it into a video if it's going to be a long answer. Discord link is also in the description. Reddit link's in the description. If you want to get my resume template, the one I used when I was applying to jobs before I had any tech experience, so it's basically just my resume with like my practice projects and like how I would frame that. Look in the description. I'll have a link on how you can get that as well. And I'm also working on a course. I think I'm leaning towards Path to Dev maybe for the name. It sounds kind of lame to me, so I might change it. But basically, gonna be designed to take you from like 0 to job ready, or at least like multiple cool projects that you can show employers and probably get a job with. So look in the description and I'll have a way you can get that as well. And I think that's about it. So I will catch you guys next time. Peace.
Round 1.